Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Mark, aka the Scruffy Fox, and I am the manager of Vulpix City. Welcome to Season 4, Week 1 of the NPCC. If you didn't see my draft analysis video, it's because I didn't make one. However, my draft will appear on screen now. And as you can see, I drafted Landorus Therian, Megamanectric, Fortress, Cresselia, Jellicent, Drapion, Blaziken, Braviary, Serperior, Klefki, and Masquerain. This season in the NPCC, you may select 2 Z-move users, one as just an offensive Z-move user and one that can use any Z-move in the game. I chose Landorus Therian for my offensive Z-move user and Blaziken as the Z-move user that can use any move that it likes. And this week we'll be battling the Battlefield Torracats, coached by Ty. He's a pretty cool guy, go check him out, I'll leave his links in the description below. And his roster consists of Weavile, which is a dangerous threat, very fast, ice and dark coverage is very difficult to switch into. I do have a couple of things for it, so I'm not completely worried about it. It's not the biggest threat to my team. I have Fortress, I have Drapion, I have Blaziken, so Weavile, not the biggest threat. He has Latias, which is his offensive Z-move user, which could be tricky to deal with, but I think it will probably come defensively, if it comes at all, for things like my Megamanectric and Blaziken, which are pretty big threats to his team. Shaman, which is a Pokemon that I love in draft format. I think it's excellent, its versatility is amazing, 100 stats across the board. It can be defensive on both sides, it can be specially offensive, it can be speedy. Really good mon, not sure it'll come in this matchup. It struggles against things like Drapion, Cresselia, I think it has 4 move slot syndrome, but you never know. He has Lucario, which is his Super Z-move user, which is a massive threat, probably the biggest threat to my entire team. And because he's a Z-move user, Cresselia, which would usually be an ideal switch into Lucario, is not, because if he's Swords Dance with Corkscrew Crash from Iron Tail, that'll do a ton to Cresselia. Same if he's Nasty Plot Dark Pulse for Black Hole Eclipse, that'll do a lot. Lucario's versatility works well for it in this matchup because it's very difficult for me to deal with, so I've got to watch out for that. Rotom Heat is another Pokemon that my team does not enjoy switching into at all. If it's defensive, I'll be pretty happy about that, which it could well be because Landorus Therian is a big threat to his team. But if he's offensive, then I'm probably going to struggle with that. And I'm probably going to need Cresselia, provided he's not a trick variant, to deal with Rotom Heat, because the rest of my team doesn't deal with it all that well. Mega Blastoise. Good rapid spinner, very bulky, very powerful too. Lots of coverage in that Mega Launcher, giving it stab on things like Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, Aura Sphere. Could be pretty tricky to deal with. Not sure it will come because I do have some decent checks to it, I would say. But gotta watch out for it nonetheless. Mimikyu, which is always a threat with the disguise ability, giving it 1 turn to do pretty much anything it wants, whether that be Swords Dance, Substitute, just, plain attack with Life Orb. Not sure about Mimikyu coming. I do have Fortress, which deals with it really well. I have things like Klefki and Drapion, which can also handle Mimikyu fairly well. He has Miltank, which is a good stealth rocker, really bulky, but I think it's a little passive in this matchup. I don't expect to see Miltank. He has Weezing, which usually would be a decent switch into Landorus Therian and, be able to burn Landorus with Will-O-Wisp, but I have something for that Weezing. Regirock, which is another very bulky stealth rocker. Could definitely see it coming to deal with certain things like my Drapion, my Braviary, and finally as a Selgor, really fast Pokemon with spikes, U-turn, Final Gambit, and that rounds out his roster. So my team, starting off with Megamanectric. Ty has no ground types, so I thought Megamanectric had to come. It can basically click Volt Switch, whenever it likes. Thunderbolt for stab. Flamethrower to deal with things like the Shaman, which obviously resist the electric type attacks, and Toxic for the switch-ins that I expect, like Latias, maybe especially defensive Miltank, Regirock possibly, and Toxic would be really nice to wear those down. Modest max special attack, 220 in speed, which is just enough to outspeed a Weavile, which is speed creeping my Serperior. Next up, we've got Fortress, Beck of the Fortress, holding the red card with Stealth Rock, Volt Switch, Toxic Spikes, and Gyro Ball. Fortress is kind of essential for things like Weavile. Well, mainly Weavile, if I'm totally honest. Otherwise, my team would really struggle with it. Obviously, Stealth Rock is kind of standard on Fortress. Volt Switch, again, Fortress, if I get it in against Weavile and Weavile can't really touch for Fortress, he'll be forced to switch, so I'll be able to get a Volt Switch off and gain initiative that way. Toxic Spikes I really liked for things like Mega Blastoise. It will get poisoned if he wants to spin them away. Mimikyu, because obviously Mimikyu can get poisoned behind the disguise. Things like Miltank, Regirock, just the bulky Pokemon that I want to wear down. And Gyro Ball, which, with the relaxed nature and 0 IVs in speed, will one-shot Weavile and Mimikyu, provided Mimikyu's disguise is already broken. The red card is really nice for things like Lucario, if it has a Swords Dance up. I can go into Fortress, take a hit with the Sturdy ability, the red card will activate and Lucario will be switched out. Therefore, I won't be getting swept by SD or Nasty Fault Lucario. So I think Fortress would be a really nice pivot in this matchup. Next up we've got Drapion. Drapion was kind of essential for Latias. Brought it Assault Vested so it can switch into pretty much any Latias attack. This Assault Vest Drapion has max HP, and with max HP in the Assault Vest it can take 2 Specs Draco Meteors from a timid Latias, which is really nice. Battle Armor is the ability, so I cannot get critted, which is pretty sweet. Enough speed for, what was it? It was like a Modest or an Adamant Lucario and Timid Mega Blastoise. That's what the speed is there for, with the Jolly nature. The rest into attack, because I want to do good damage with Pursuit if I can catch the Latias switching out. Knocking off items will be really nice. Drapion also deals with Weavile fairly well. Shaman too. Shaman can't really do a whole lot to this Drapion, and Poison Jab will 2-hit KO Shaman pretty easily. Earthquake is there for things like the Lucario, and yeah, knockoff is really nice in general, just getting rid of items. Have to watch out for the Lucario, of course, because if it gets a justified boost, that will be a bit spooky. But yeah, that's Drapion. Should deal with things like Latias and Shaman pretty well. Next up, we've got Blaziken. Focus Sash with a Rash Nature max special attack. 118 speed, which is enough to outspeed a 0 speed Miltank and a 0 speed Shaman. Blaziken just has a really good matchup against Ty's team. Vacuum with Fire Blast, Knockoff, Focus Blast. Honestly, it's dual stab. Kind of deals with Ty's team really well outside of Latias, and that's why the Knockoff is there. Vacuum Wave is there as a failsafe, just in case Weavile gets a little bit out of hand. Fire Blast does really good damage to the Shaman, it knocks out Lucario. Focus Blast does really good damage to the Mega Blastoise, the Miltank, the Regirock. Obviously Fire Blast is great for Weezing and Selgor too. Focus Sash is just... I'm not sure if Focus Sash is absolutely necessary, but it's what I brought. I thought about bringing Life Orb, but Focus Sash was really nice just as another failsafe. I liked it as another backup, just in case things got out of hand. I mean, it's a little weird to not have hazard removal and to have a Focus Sash mon, but I'm pretty sure that I can prevent hazards, or at the very least force Ty to defog them away if he chooses to bring Defog Latias over Rapid Spin Mega Blastoise. But Blaziken puts in a ton of work against his team. Not many things switch into it very well outside of Latias. So yeah, hoping that'll put in a lot of work. Next up we've got Cresselia, holding the light play. Pretty standard Cresselia. Dual screens, Reflect Light Screen, Moonblast, Lunar Dance. Max HP, 124 defense, 132 speed with a calm nature. The speed is similar to Blaziken's, it's around that mark just so it outspeed things like Min Speed Shaman and Miltank. Reflect and Light Screen are there so that my final mon in particular has a really good opportunity at winning the game. Moonblast is there because I had to bring only one attack, and I couldn't bring Psychic Stab because obviously he has a Weavile. Moonblast is, it's not going to do a ton of damage, but it can get special attack drops, and it hits a lot of his team neutrally, which is pretty nice. Lunar Dance is there in case any of my Pokemon get worn down, like Drapion if it's switching into Latias multiple times, if Landorus has taken a few hits, if Blaziken has taken damage and I want to get the Focus Sash back intact, I can do that. And Cresselia is just amazing against most of his team. The only thing that really threatens it is, well, prior to anything being set up, is Weavile. And yeah, it's calm nature just so Cresselia can take special hits a little bit better. 124 defense guarantees that Cresselia can live a +2 Life Orb Shadow Claw from Mimikyu. Should Cresselia absolutely have to stay in on it, and bust it to the skies with Moonblast, so that's really nice. But Cresselia is kind of the glue that holds this team together, and it should definitely be able to go for Lunar Dance and heal up one of my other Pokemon should they need it. And finally, I would say the win condition going into this game, and the Pokemon I built this team around. Offensive Landorus Therian. With the Flying EMZ, Smackdown, Earthquake, Fly, Rock Polish, Adamant Nature, Max Attack, 100 in HP, 156 in Speed. The speed is there to outspeed a modest Max Speed Mega Blastoise. Didn't really feel the need to, put any more speed into that, especially when I've got Rock Polish on there. Landorus Therian, outside of, like a Weavile Ice Shard, which even if Reflect is up, even that won't do too much to Landorus Therian. If screens are up, this Landorus Therian just tears through his entire team. Smackdown is there for the likely switch-ins of Rotom Heat and Weezing, thinking that they can take on Landorus's ground type attacks. But if they switch in on a Smackdown, then they're vulnerable to Earthquake, which will decimate both of them. Earthquake obviously, takes on things like knocks out Weavile, knocks out Lucario, does a ton to Regirock. 2-hit KOs, max HP Miltank, I believe, does a lot to Blastoise. And finally Fly with the Flying EMZ, which Oko Latias, it Oko Shaman. It does about 80% to Mega Blastoise, so if I've chipped Mega Blastoise down a little bit, Supersonic Sky Strike will knock that thing out. And yeah, if Cresselia can get screens up, and I've got hazards up with Fortress, and Ty's team has been worn down, this Landorus Therian can tear his team apart, and that's what I'm hoping to accomplish in this game. But yeah, that's the team I'm hoping for my first match in League format, going it solo. I'm hoping things go well, and I guess we'll find out, because we're about to jump into the battle pretty much right now. So as you can see, unfortunately there were some unforeseen circumstances and I was unable to get footage from my perspective, so Ty sent me the file from his end and allowed me to record it for myself from his perspective, so much appreciated that Ty sent me that, and because otherwise I wouldn't be able to get this video up. As you can see, Ty brought his Weavile, his Lucario, his Rotom Heat, his Weezing, his Regirock and his Latias. Now, looking at his team, I expect Stealth Rock on Regirock. He didn't bring Mega Blastoise, so it looks like probably Defog, Latias. Lucario is obviously the biggest threat. Don't know what it could be. Fearing, you know, Z-move, Life Orb would be tricky to deal with. Agility would be a problem too. Weezing I expect is there for my Landorus and things like Drapion. And obviously seeing both Weezing and Rotom Heat kind of scares me a little bit, because it makes me think that Weezing is the defensive Pokemon there to deal with Landorus, whereas Rotom Heat is offensive, which is what I really didn't want. And Weavile, I feel I can deal with Weavile. I have Fortress, I have Drapion, I have Blaziken, but we'll find out, really, because we're about to get into the battle, and I am going to lead with my Mega Manectric. I'm going to lead with Mega Manectric because it's the best lead to counter, well, not counter, but if he leads with Rotom Heat, I think Mega Manectric is my best lead. So he does lead off with it, and if he's not Life Orb or Choice Specs, I can take one Overheat, get a Toxic off, which is what I need to wear this Rotom Heat down, and then go from there. If I take the damage, then, you know, I can always Luna Dance with Cresselia and heal Mega Manectric up later, if I absolutely need to. So yeah, Rotom Heat. Overheat is obviously what I'm fearing, but I'm definitely just going to go for the Toxic here. I could just Volt Switch out, but as I've said, I don't really switch into this well, that's why I led with Manectric. And he does go for the Overheat, and he knocks Mega Manectric out turn 1. And as it turns out, he is Life Orb, which is good and bad, because the Life Orb and the Toxic is going to be wearing down the Rotom Heat really quickly, but obviously losing Mega Manectric turn 1 is really bad. That's a lot of initiative that I just lost, because obviously he had no ground type, so Mega Manectric could have come in and, you know, gained initiative on a number of the members of his team. But I'm bringing Cresselia now because obviously his special attack is lowered due to the Overheat, and I found out that I'm actually faster than Rotom Heat. As he Volt Switches out, I go for the Reflect because I know that due to the special attack drop, a Volt Switch isn't going to do anything to me, nor was an Overheat. I'm just going to get up my Reflect, thinking that he could have thought about going into Weavile there. In fact, I thought he would be faster, Volt Switch into Weavile, and that's why I got the Reflect up. But now I'm thinking that he will probably go into maybe something like Regirock to get Stealth Rocks up at this point. You know, possibly the Weezing if he has Toxic Spikes, but then again, he doesn't know my attacking moves at this moment, as he does go into his Regirock. Now, I see this as an opportunity to go into my Fortress, because outside of a random, you know, Fire Punch from Regirock, Regirock really can't touch Fortress. The only thing that would really scare me would be like a Curse set, but looking at the structure of his team, I don't expect it to be that. I expect it to be, you know, Stealth Rock, and the fact that he brought it in on Cresselia makes me think that he probably has Toxic too. So I bring my Fortress, he does reveal the Toxic, as because I do have Cresselia, I'm expecting Toxic on pretty much every Pokemon. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to get on my Stealth Rock. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, as he brings in his Weezing. Now obviously I do not want to stay in on this Weezing. Weezing will definitely have Flamethrower, otherwise he would not have switched it in on my Fortress. I'm not going to Volt Switch out either, because Weezing will definitely be faster due to me running a Relaxed Nature and 0 Speed IVs. So I'm thinking my best switch-in is probably Cresselia, which is what I do go into. As he throws off a Will-O-Wisp, I don't really mind that too much. In fact, I kind of like that, because if Cresselia is going to be status, I would rather it be via Will-O-Wisp than Toxic. And now I don't really see a reason to click Light Screen here. I don't expect him to stay in fearing the Psychic, so I'm just going to fire off a Moonblast, and he makes a play that I am delighted he made, because he goes straight into Weavile taking a good 45-50% from that Moonblast, and taking the stealth rod damage, meaning a very big threat is weakened really early, which is really nice. But obviously I don't want to stay in with Cresselia. I can take a Pursuit. The Reflect is up. I'm not going to take much damage if he does go for the Pursuit, so I'm just going to go into my Fortress. The red card isn't absolutely necessary, and it's my best switch into Weavile. And I can scare the Weavile out with a Gyro Ball. Yeah, so he's really not going to want to stay in for this. I would expect him to go into probably the Weezing again. He has kind of no reason not to. Fortress can't do much to Weezing, and Weezing can, you know, click Flamethrower. But he actually goes into his Latias as I double out, fearing the natural gift Fire because I didn't see an item on the Weavile. And the Blizz can switch in, covered his, what I thought he might either switch into Weezing, or if he had the natural gift Fire, Blizzard can dealt with, you know, both scenarios. But now that he has his Latias in against my Blaziken, that is really bad for me, so I have to get out, and I go straight into my dedicated switch into Latias, which is my Drapion, as he fires off a Dragon Pulse. Doesn't do too much, and he reveals Leftovers. The Reflect wears off, but that's fine. I can easily get that back up with Cresselia later on. Now, I expect him to switch out because, I mean, he should know from that damage that I am an Assault-based Drapion. I'm actually faster than the Latias, as he does not switch out. He goes for the Defog. The fact that I am faster tells me that this Latias is probably max HP, max... I think it was max defense, judging by the Pursuit damage that it actually did. But I'm going to click Pursuit again, thinking that he's defogged now, he can't do too much damage. He probably thinks that I'm thinking, well, he stayed in before, so I'll just click Knock Off this time. But no, he stays in again, and he goes for the Healing Wish, which I'm not really going to complain about. I mean, granted, he's going to heal up his Rotom Heat back to full and cure the poisoning, but the fact that Latias is out of the way is, you know, it's really nice. It means that I can stay in here with Drapion. I can just click Knock Off. I know that if I should be faster because, well, I will be faster because Cresselia was faster. And if I click Knock Off on this Rotom Heat, he will lose his Life Orb, which means I will not die to an Overheat. His special attack will drop, and I'll get some nice damage on the Rotom Heat. So I do go for that Knock Off, do a nice 35-40%, as he goes with the Overheat, and because he lost the Life Orb, he does not kill me. And now, my most powerful attack is Poison Jab, so that is what I click as he brings in his Weavile, and I don't know, maybe he expected another knockoff, which Weavile would have lived. But no, I go for the Poison Jab, and Weavile is down too, so Latias and Weavile both out of the picture pretty early on, which I'm really happy about. Now, expecting something like the Regirock to come in, could go Weezing to click Will-O-Wisp, perhaps. But regardless, I'm just going to let my Drapion go down. His special attackers have been dealt with in Latias, which is what this was mainly here for. Rotom Heat has been weakened to a point that I think I can deal with it with other Pokemon. He brings in his Lucario, which is the biggest threat, so I'm absolutely not switching out here. I'm clicking Earthquake 100% of the time. Fearing, obviously, the Sword Dance, the Nasty Plot, the Substitute, anything this Lucario can do to potentially set up, I'm not going to let it happen. As he goes for the Blaze Kick, a little surprised to actually see Blaze Kick, but I mean, it's good coverage from my Fortress, so that takes on my Drapion. And now I could have gone into my Landorus Therian here, but I don't know if he has, you know, Ice Punch. I'm not faster than a Jolly Lucario. He could have, granted I get the Intimidate off, but he could have maybe the ICMZ for Sub-Zero Slammer, so I don't want to go into my Landorus Therian, so I go into my Cresselia because I see this, he's revealed himself to be physical, so I don't fear him as much with Cresselia. The only thing that could really hurt Cresselia is Nasty Plot, Dark Pulse, really. So I'm going to take this opportunity to get my screens back up as he switches out, goes into his Weezing, as I click the Reflect. And I'm looking at the end game now. I'm thinking that I can get Landorus Therian in pretty soon. and start doing a ton of damage to his team. As I get the light screen up too, he clicks Sludge Bomb, does absolutely nothing to Cresselia, which is really nice. If I wanted to, I could wear this thing down, you know, by just continually clicking Moonblast and letting Cresselia go down, maybe Lunar Dancing into something else. But I'm actually going to take this opportunity to get my Stealth Rocks back up. He could predict Fortress coming in on a Sludge Bomb, which went through my mind. I was a little worried about it, but Fortress, if he did predict and went for Flamethrower, then fair play on his part, but the light screen is up, so I was fairly sure I could take 2 anywhere, and he does go for the Sludge Bomb, so I'm definitely going to go for the Stealth Rock. Latias is down. As he goes for the Flamethrower, I would not have lived 2, as it turns out. So thankfully I did get that light screen up with Cresselia, but Fortress can go down here. It's done its job. It's got the Stealth Rocks up. It checked Weavile. So yeah, Fortress goes down, and I can go into my Blaziken now. I am a special attacking Blaziken, which he does not know yet, and I go for the Fire Blast, which does a ton to Weezing. If I was Life Orb, that would have had an okay chance of knocking it out, so, you know, I kind of wish I'd gone Life Orb over Focus Sash. But regardless, I can go for the Fire Blast again, knock out the Weezing. Blaziken gets a kill, which is really nice. And unfortunately, that is where the battle ends. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately there was a disconnection right towards the end of the battle. I spoke to Ty shortly afterwards, and we agreed that the match would likely have played out and ended with a 2-0 victory in my favour, as I had Cresselia to Lunar Dance back into Blaziken to get the Focus Sash back intact. Weezing was down, Rotom was there, but Stealth Rocks were up. It would have taken 25%. Blaziken could have taken it out with 2 Vacuum Waves, 1 Focus Blast. Landorus could have taken it out with, you know, a Smackdown, or even Supersonic Sky Strike. And Regirock had like Toxic, didn't really have offensive presence, and I had Focus Blast on Blaziken, Earthquake on Landorus. So yeah, unfortunately it did end with a disconnection, but at the same time it is a 2-0 victory for Vulpix City in week 1 of season 4 of the NPCC, so that I am really happy about. Props to Ty, he played pretty well. Yeah, just unfortunate, you know, it ended the way it ended. But yeah, that was week 1. Thank you for watching. Check out Ty. I'll leave his links in the description below. And please like and subscribe for more NPCC content, and I'll see you later. Peace.